you want to grab it, and then we'll go over to Amanda.
Yeah, sure. I love that McKenna mentioned ROI because Michael Gerber, who wrote E-Myth, one of the classic books of all time, Why Small Businesses Don't Succeed and What to Do About It, talks a lot about this. And we actually have two chapters in the E-Myth Real Estate Agent where we talk about time. A couple things that Gerber said. You know, most of us are prisoners of the future or the past. While pinballing between the two, we miss the richest moments of our life, the present. And he says, if you're oblivious to the value of time, you'll commit the single greatest sin. You'll live your life unconscious of its passing by. And then the last thing I'll say, he said in his chapter, he writes a chapter and then I write a chapter. So in the last part of that, he says, so it leaves you with these questions. How do I live my life? How do I give significance to it? How can I be here now and in the moment? And then in the next chapter, I talk about, you know, finding out where all your time is going. And I, of course, break it down to the more systematic side of that. And one of the things I talk about in there is the 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle. We've all kind of heard, I mean, if you're in any kind of training at all and you hang around coaches, you're going to hear about the 80-20 rule. If you haven't heard of it yet, it means that 80% of the activities we do generate 20% of our results. And you know, kind of focusing on getting the most out of time and being productive with time. And maybe I'm going to put a little money spin on this because when we make money, it frees us up to do more things and enjoy life more. So one of the things I say is 80% of what you did yesterday generated 20% of your income. And so if somebody wants to really make more, not necessarily that's all about more money, but you make more money to get more leverage and to, you know, hire more people to help you to buy more technology and systems, then if you want to double your income and you figure out what the 20% is that generated 80% of your income, just do it 40% of your day. Not even, just double it. You're not even taking half your day to focus on those activities that are generating the biggest results. So one quick exercise that I take people through is tracking your time and determining what that 20% is. So I call it the calendar tracker. It's a 2-week exercise, probably one of the most brutal 2 weeks you'll have because you have to carry around one of these every 30-minute paper calendars with you for 2 weeks. Set a timer on your watch to go off every 30 minutes and literally carry this book with you for 2 weeks. And the reason why I say 2 weeks is you might have one off week here and there, but it gives you a good sampling if you do 2 weeks every 30 minutes. When that timer goes off, just open it up and write down whatever you're doing. And do this for 2 weeks. I mean, if you're eating a donut, write down that you're eating a donut right then, right? Or whatever you're doing. At the end of the 2 weeks, you got three color markers that you want to get, highlighters. You got a green one for dollar generating activities. You got a yellow one for anything and everything that's not necessarily bringing in new dollars or leveraging your time to give you time back or things like that that can help generate that 80% productivity. That yellow is if you had a blank check and you could write it for whatever amount to hire whoever you needed to get whatever technology you needed, that you could take it off your plate. That should be in yellow. Even though you're still doing it today, it's a cautionary thing that that is not generating new, it's not your 20%, but it is stuff that you're still doing. So that's going to be one of the first things you leverage. And then orange is your personal stuff. Like, I can't give away, even for the most amount of money possible, that somebody gave me a blank check. I'm not going to pay somebody to go watch my grandson play soccer. You know, that's something that I'm going to be at. So the orange is personal. So track every 30 minutes for 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks, highlight anything green that was bringing in new dollars to the bottom line or completely leveraging your time back to go make more dollars. For example, yellow, anything else you're doing that could be done by somebody else if money were no object, and orange is your personal stuff. So last thing I'll just say about this, 3 specific things that I have done based on that. One, during that 20% activity, if it is making calls and following up with clients and that stuff that brings commitment and dollars to the bottom line, put a sign on your door. tape a bucket on the door and say, if you knock on this door during this time while this sign's up, it says, we just put lead generation in progress, and it was like up for 2 hours. Put a tub there and said, drop $100 bill in here if you want to knock on this door or open this door while this sign is up. And that just people just started leaving us alone. The second thing is on time. Setting a blocking out like 1 hour. Just say, for example, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Permanent black marker on your calendar like it's a $1 billion business opportunity. It does not get moved, and just write on. And that is where you work on your business to go back into that calendar and look at those yellow things, figure out what can be systematized to free up your time. And then the last thing is my Google Calendar. I only block the things on my Google Calendar that Brad Korn has to be at. Like if I'm speaking somewhere, if I'm in an appointment, or I've got to be with my grandson to be in the moment. Everything else that's open on my calendar looks like white space on a Google Calendar. That is what I fill in with those David Allen getting things done topics. Like, I mean, if I've got a chunk of 2 hours of time this morning, for example, before I go get my grandson, I'm going to do phone calls. So I'll go to my phone stuff and pull up anybody on my phone activities that I need to call. Now, if I was speaking all day long, I wouldn't go to my phone activities during that white block. I would go to my at computer activities because I've been talking all day. I don't feel like making phone calls. So anyway, those are three of the ways that I've put that into use.
I love that. I love that. I love the practical tips. The one thing that, how I like to capture a little bit of time is, Tony Robbins talks about net time, right? That's no extra time, right? You don't have extra time, but that net time that you can pick up is when you're driving, you can listen to an audiobook. When you're driving, you can listen to that podcast. When you're driving, you could make a phone call or be on a call. Maybe not make a phone call, but be on a call. I mean, I tend to, if I'm driving somewhere and I don't have any calls to make, I'll either be on Audible, listen to a book, or maybe if I'm, before I drive off or I'm at a light, I turn on Clubhouse and I listen to something on the drive. If I'm, again, it's about doing more than one thing at a time if you can, if you have the ability, flexibility to do that. But I do love the fact that you're taking time to call, because again, that Pareto principle is absolutely right. That 20% of things you do are what's going to give you the 80% return. And I had Summer message me talking about time blocking. And to talk about time blocking, well, and obviously that, we're going to run through everyone, and then we're going to talk a little bit about time blocking as well. I'm sure that, Amanda may talk about it, or someone else will talk about it, but there's definitely practical tips and strategies to be able to get more done in less time. Basically, I kind of started it that way in the morning, and saying, give yourself a limited amount of time to do something. Put yourself on a deadline. Listen, if you're going to do something for, you're going to commit, listen, every morning from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I'm going to call prospects. Every morning from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to call referrals. I'm going to, 11 to 12 o'clock, I'm going to call agents and try to track them into EXP or whatever it is. And during that time, you don't do anything else. You're focused. It's focus time. And you got to do it. And when that time is over, you stop, get up, move around, exercise your body, because of course, and I'm drawing a blank on what that technique is, but I'm sure somebody will fill it in. Every 45 to 50 minutes, or at least once an hour, get up and move around, because it's going to sharpen your mind. It's going to make you more effective, more efficient as well. But time blocking and knowing that tomorrow at 10 o'clock, hey, listen, you know what, I got to call so-and-so, and whether he's a prospect, whether he's a lead, whether he's a friend, whatever, you put them in that time block that you're going to do it. You just decide that you're going to call them tomorrow. And the more you do it, the more the more you stick to a schedule, the more your body gets used to it. It's just about, programming that into your day, programming that into your life. So just a couple of thoughts on that. So thanks, Brad, for those tips and strategies. You're always bringing quality stuff to this breakfast table. Speaking of quality stuff, I hope